When you think of big business, names like Apple or Amazon probably come to mind. But what about the companies working behind the scenes? The ones that are basically the operating system for a huge chunk of the American economy? Well, today we're diving into one of those hidden giants, Paychex.
So let me ask you, if you've ever tried to run a business or even just thought about it, what do you think the hardest part is? Is it finding customers, making the product? For so many entrepreneurs, the real nightmare is all the internal stuff. Payroll, HR laws, benefits. It's that complicated, often thankless work that pulls you away from what you actually love doing.
So, who handles all that? Well, for nearly 800,000 businesses, the answer is Paychex. And look, we're not just talking about a handful of companies here. We are talking about a massive slice of the small and medium-sized businesses that are the true engine of the U.S. economy.
But a giant like this doesn't just appear overnight. Its origin story is a classic, really. It all started with one simple idea and a budget that was, let's just say, incredibly small. So let's rewind and see how it all got started.
$3,000. That's it. That's all Tom Golisano had to start Paychex back in 1971. See, he had this brilliant insight. He saw that small businesses were just drowning in the complexities of payroll, something big corporations had entire departments to handle. His bet was simple. He could do it for them, and he could do it cheaper and better.
And wow, did that $3,000 bet pay off? And it paid off fast. In just 8 years, he'd consolidated a bunch of franchises into one private company. Only 4 years after that, they went public. Just think about that explosive growth. Today, Paychex isn't just some successful company. It's a component of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, trading right alongside the biggest names in tech and finance.
So how in the world did they scale that quickly? I mean, it wasn't just about signing up one customer at a time. A huge piece of the puzzle, a core part of their strategy, was to grow by buying other companies. And make no mistake, this was totally deliberate. They weren't just gobbling up competitors for the sake of getting bigger. No, they were buying companies to get smarter. Every single acquisition was a calculated move to break into a new market, get their hands on new tech, or add a new skill to their platform. You can literally watch their strategy evolve right here. Back in 2010, they snagged Sure Payroll to get into the online game. Then, fast forward to 2018, they make this massive $1.2 billion deal for Oasis to jump headfirst into full-service HR outsourcing. And now, this projected $4.1 billion deal for Paycor, that shows you exactly where they're headed next: AI-powered HR. So, all of these moves, all of these decades of acquisitions, they bring us to the Paychex of today. And because of that history, the company now is so much more than just the payroll processor it started out as. Okay, so the heart of everything they do now is this platform called Paychex Flex. Think of it as this central hub, the one digital dashboard where a business owner can manage pretty much every single thing related to their employees. It's the culmination of decades of work, all rolled into one powerful tool. And when you really dig into what Paychex Flex can do, you see just how far they've come. We're talking HR advice, time tracking, managing 401ks and health insurance, even business insurance and tools for hiring the best people. It's not just a service, it's like an entire business infrastructure in a box. Now, one of their most powerful services is something called a PEO. So what is a PEO? It's actually a pretty clever idea. Paychex essentially becomes a co-employer with the business. This lets a tiny startup offer the same kind of amazing benefits as a huge corporation, and it completely takes the headache of compliance off their plate. For a small company trying to attract top talent, this is an absolute game changer. And look, don't just take my word for it. This quote from a founder, this says it all. It's not about the software or the features, it's about freedom. The freedom to stop working in the business on all those admin tasks and finally start working on the business, on the vision, the growth, the customers. That, right there, is the real product they're selling. Now, what's really fascinating is that when you're connected to that many businesses, you get this unique bird's eye view of the entire economy. You can spot trends way before the official government numbers ever come out. And they don't just sit on that data. They actually partner up to create the Small Business Employment Watch. And honestly, it's become a huge deal. Economists, journalists, financial analysts, they all rely on it to get a real-time pulse on what's happening with jobs, wages, and the health of the small business world. When you have the data from hundreds of thousands of companies, you see the story as it's unfolding. And the scale of their influence doesn't even stop there. With over 90,000 plans, Paychex is the #1 401k provider in the entire country. This means our impact isn't just on a weekly paycheck. It's literally woven into the long-term financial security of millions and millions of Americans.
So you take all of that, the services, the technology, the data, and what do you get? You get a massive business. This is their projected revenue for 2025. Just think about that. From a $3,000 idea to an almost $6 billion enterprise. It is a truly staggering journey.
Okay, so let's zoom out and look at the big picture here. What does the whole story of Paychex really tell us about where business has been, and more importantly, where it's going?
I mean, this line right here really nails their whole evolution. They started by solving one simple universal headache: payroll. From there, they just systematically bought the tech and the talent to solve the next problem, and the next, and the next, until they became what they are today, a complete HR tech powerhouse. And that, of course, brings us to the future. The way we work is changing faster than ever, right? We have remote teams, AI is everywhere, and what employees expect from a job is totally different. Paychex built an empire by figuring out and then acquiring the next essential tool for businesses. So the big question now is, what's next? What's going to be that next indispensable tool that businesses simply can't live without?